When I was a young pupil, I remember reading a fable which went something like this. A little lamb was drinking water, quenching its thirst at the base of a hill, from which a waterfall streamed down very gently, as if it were a fountain. Suddenly, a wolf appeared on the top of that hill and shouted at the lamb, "Hey, you lamb, you are polluting my drinking water." The lamb replied, "Sir, you are high above on the hill, and I'm here at the base of the waterfall falling as a fountain. The water does not flow from the base to top, but flows from top to the base. How can I pollute the water which you are intending to drink?" The wolf said, "Well, you polluted my water 4 years ago." The lamb replied very gently, "Sir, I'm not yet 1 year old. How could I have polluted your water 4 years ago?" The wolf replied, "Well, you did not, but your father did. So I'm going to devour you in revenge." So it is today, when a dictator is trying to base his ludicrous arguments, which are contrary to the natural justice, to equity, to the laws of the nations, the Charter of the United Nations Organization as a whole, and most certainly Article 51 of the UN Charter. This particular dictator, perhaps himself being dictated by his fantasies and being in fear and being dictated by fear, began attacking a country a fortnight ago, a country which imposed no imminent threat to his own country, even as explained by Article 51 of the UN Charter. He argumented, or based his unfounded argument upon the quite fictitious ground that his country was under imminent threat by a large and powerful organization, equally powerful perhaps to his own country state. But the most recent attack on a children's hospital in the victimized country clearly speaks for itself. That his argument, the argument of this dictator, was in vain, totally unfounded, contrary to natural justice and equity, contrary to logic. My question to this dictator would be, was this particular dictator assuming that those little babies and children who were ill, perhaps even handicapped, lying in that particular hospital, would be like that science fiction story of the Superman, coming to the earth as a little boy and lifting up a heavy vehicle. Was this dictator so strongly convinced by fantasies that he forgot to distinguish between fiction and reality? Children are absolutely innocent by nature. They're deemed incapable of committing any crime, even in accordance with the standards set by the civilized world, which include almost all the member states of the United Nations, perhaps with the exception of one single powerful nation of today. I fail to comprehend how the dictator could justify his allegation, even his arguments, in reference to Article 51 of the UN Charter, which justifies any attack upon another sovereign nation if, but only if, that sovereign nation or its citizens or its residents become imminent and indisputable threat to that country which attack another. Children ought to be protected, not merely by natural justice and equity, but to the best of my understanding, also befitting the Geneva Convention, which most certainly prohibits the killing of the innocent, at least to my modest and most certainly solemn view and understanding. I begin to query how long the world communities will remain silenced by this dictator, imposing threats of nuclear arsenals, whether they be ballistic missiles or short-ranged or long-ranged ones. The ones which may even be able to destroy a nation or two, yet it cannot destroy the facts, nor even the historical facts. I begin to query why the world does not recognize the noun precaution, but acts too frequently by taking post-cautions, when only too little can be done, even too late. Perhaps not merely for a few victims, but perhaps for hundreds of thousands, even reaching millions, as the history witnessed during both the First and the Second World Wars, claiming millions of innocent lives and destroying countries, nations, communities, for all the time to come from that moment when they were destroyed. A question I ask my own self, and I may be justified raising this question on the minds of all of my fellow global citizens who believe in natural justice, equity, humanity, and most certainly believe in the very charter of the United Nations Organization, including Article 51 of the same UN Charter. I thank you for viewing or watching this live telecasting of mine, or watching the video recording of the same at your convenience. While I invite you most cordially, with all due respect, to come forward and speak out, speak up, and speak out against this vicious practice of prosecuting a senseless war against a sovereign nation, even an innocent country. Thank you. May the Almighty protect this nation concerning which I am so worried today, and all my innocent fellow global citizens. Thank you once again.